us because we have another of Shraddha's friend, Godwin, also now joining us on the broadcast. Godwin, we appreciate you taking out the time and joining us here in CNN News 18. As I was telling Rajat, a difficult time for all of you, friends and family. But do you see this as a big breakthrough that at least justice now will be delivered?
Absolutely. In fact, I am happy that the legal actions have been taken after the delay in the case, and because of which now we are able to identify that the DNA has been matched successfully. And I hope justice will be served soon. So I'm just crossing my fingers. I feel it should be done on an immediate basis now.
Right. Godwin, you again, like Rajat, had been extremely vocal. You were one of the few friends who came forward and spoke about the nature of the relationship. As I was asking Rajat as well, with this DNA now matching with the remains that had been found, remember there are certain blood samples also that had been recovered from the residence where Shraddha and Aftab lived. Do you think it becomes more and more clear that this was pre-planned and not in a matter of fit of rage?
Absolutely correct, because I am that same person who has witnessed this way back in 2020. So I have been saying this since the time this news has come up. So I think it's a repeated offense. Unfortunately, it was not concluded for him in 2020. It just got concluded in 2022. But I feel it is pre-planned. It's my opinion that it is pre-planned.
Sure. Godwin, looking back, what do you think were the red flags that possibly if people paid heed to those red flags, today we wouldn't be discussing a story like this?
See, there are a couple of red flags that I would ask the youth, the teenagers of today to follow. Because if you're going on any social media sites, if you're on any hookup sites, if you're on dating sites, just be very crystal clear. If you like that person, if you're infatuated, just make sure you have a KYC done, have a police verification done. In case if you're planning to settle down with that partner, have a KYC done, have the police verification done. Along with that, if the partner is abusive, I understand, give a chance, give one chance, two chance. But if it's a repeated offense, I don't think you should keep forgiving him or keep yourself grounded to his needs, his anger, and just take that abuses. In fact, I want all the people today, all females who have gone through this torture of domestic violence or physical abuse, to raise their voices. There are people there to help you. But if you don't raise your voice, no one will ever be able to help you. And you cannot criticize the government that no one is willing to help you. It's just that you don't want to stand for yourself. No one else will stand for you. Please raise your voices. There are millions of people waiting and willing to help you out.
True. That's something crucial that you're pointing out. Godwin, I remember we'd spoken, a couple of weeks ago also, and you had spoken about a particular complaint that had been filed by Shraddha, but she later actually withdrew that complaint. Do you think that possibly if, she had gone forward with that complaint, the story today would have been very, very different? And possibly this also becomes a learning for cops and officials that looking at the content of a complaint, even if it's been taken back, possibly some action should have been taken?
I see this in both the ways. See, if Shraddha wouldn't have backed out, I'm sure legal help would have been given to us. Because I was physically present when this situation had taken place. I was there to help her out. But in fact, we even approached the Women Health Center and they were also willing to help us. But eventually, after Shraddha speaking to Aftab's mom and dad, she backed out of the situation. Now, we do not know on what grounds she backed out. There might be a blackmail, there might be anything, emotional blackmail, some details of her that she wouldn't want to share. So on those grounds, I cannot blame her. But obviously, if she would have agreed to taking legal actions against Aftab, I'm sure this wouldn't have concluded to what happened in the near time right now. And on the grounds of if we would have taken legal help, I'm sure this instance would have made a big difference to many people's life currently, including Shraddha's family, including the society, and to Aftab as well.
Right. Godwin, just stay on with us. I quickly want to go back to Rajat also. And, I actually love the effort that has been put by friends like you who've come out and helped us understand and give us a background of what the relationship looked like. But just for the benefit of our viewers, Rajat, let's go back to this case because, of course, the abusive nature of this relationship becomes very, very important to understand. Many have questioned the fact why Shraddha continued to live with Aftab. But it's not so easy. It's easier said than done. Talk to us about the patterns that you saw today which you think can become learnings for other people as well?
I think the first thing that everybody...
Okay, we seem to have lost that connection with Rajat. But Godwin, if I can take that same question to you as well, that abusive nature of the relationship, many questioning why Shraddha, who was, educated, she was financially independent, why didn't she just walk out of the relationship? But also becomes extremely problematic to understand the cycle of abuse and what it does to the so-called victim. Talk to us about the patterns that you saw, which today you feel could possibly become a learning for others as well.
See, on the other side of the story, if I see anyone who has gone through this physical abuse, if it has happened repeated 10, 12 times, I'm sure no person would want to ever go back to the same person and start living in together, right? There might be different reasons to it. There might be some different story attached to it. And because I did not knew her personally, I wouldn't want to comment, because obviously she wouldn't be that comfortable sharing that information with a stranger like me, right? Unfortunately, she didn't have a lot of friends who she could share that information, or she was not connected to her family. And being a female, she wouldn't be that comfortable sharing those details with her own father as well, right? And she had a younger brother. So I feel that gap between a family, the friends, your colleagues, has created that entire situation for her to go back to the same guy. Now, we do not know on what grounds was he blackmailing. See, today if you open any newspaper, you go to any news channel, the most common thing is what blackmail. Females keep their mouth shut only because there is some video, there is some images that they are being blackmailed for, right? Now, we do not know on what grounds she was getting blackmailed.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it won't be fair for us to sit here and, work with conjectures or hypothetical situations.
On the other side.
Absolutely. But, we're only trying to use this case as a learning for many others as well. Godwin, I'll just request you to stay on with us. Just stay on with us for a few minutes, because I want to bring in forensic expert Dr. Dinesh Rao also in the conversation. So good to have you on the broadcast with us. Speaking specifically as far as the probe is concerned, considering the fact till now this had been seen as a missing persons case, which will now be seen as a murder case. How big a breakthrough is this for investigating agencies?
No, definitely, it's a very good breakthrough, and it's a very big success the investigators have achieved in this case, because now the identity is confirmed. So, as we say, the corpus delicti of a crime is first is the identification and then the body of offense. So once the identity is confirmed, definitely now there are injuries, or there are cuts, or there are the way the body has been mutilated, that clearly it confirms that it is incompatible with the so-called existence or a life. So that clearly proves the unnatural cause of death, and that is consistent with the so-called homicide, and the circumstances prove in this case. So with considering all these things, we can clearly say that it's a great success the investigative achieved. All their efforts have indeed paid off, and it's a very good move in the investigation.
Absolutely. Sir, I'll request you to stay on with us.